have to be a redneck to love A&E's Duck Dynasty. The hit show is breaking records and has become one of the top series on cable TV. Recently, I spoke with the heads of the Robertson household, Phil and Kay, about the art of the duck call, their humble beginnings, their troubled past, and most of all, the faith that turned their lives around. Take a look.
If you've seen the hit reality show Duck Dynasty, then you know what millions already do.
I'm fixing to go crazy redneck up in here.
While times are good now for the Robertson clan, life wasn't always
happy.
Phil and Miss Kay married young. Life was tough in those early days, not just because they were poor.
He wasn't just away from the Lord, he was just horribly away, and so he did a bunch of horrible things that were just terrible. And you know, for my mom to stick with him through all that was incredible.
When Duck Dynasty first aired in 2012, producers wanted to tone down the family's faith.
Miss Kay, listen to this. I'm reading from 1 Corinthians chapter 7 about marriage.
But that's exactly what the audience wanted. The season 3 finale broke an A&E channel record with 9.6 million viewers.
Please welcome to the 700 Club the patriarch and the matriarch of the Duck Dynasty clan, Phil and Kay Robertson. It's great to have you both with us.
Nice to be here.
So are you kin to our Robertsons?
I was wondered about that, and they said, look, we all came from Scotland. So it's all the kin folks gathering up here today.
Yes.
The Robertsons have come back together up here in Virginia.
Many of the Robertsons like to duck hunt. So I have with me, Phil, a duck caller. Now, I have no clue. I am clueless how to use this. What do I do?
Well,
you turn it to the other
This
end
way.
to start.
This way. See, that's my problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm taking this end.
I'm looking at that particular model. Now look, we have all these different kinds of ducks. This is about like 6 different species of duck. And basically what all this comes down to is the control of your tongue.
Oh, dear.
Your tongue.
Okay.
So watch. What you're saying, this is the way you hold one. Hold it between your thumb and index finger like that. And so tongue control. Now look. So with a duck call, you're basically going 10, 10, 10. 10, 10,
Well,
10.
maybe. Let's see.
Try
Did you put your lips right up like?
That's put it.
Okay.
Go ahead and where.
Okay, so that's the
Oh,
Wisconsin
Virginia has a
version, all
long
right?
way to go.
See, I think when a Southerner says 10, 10, 10, it's different than when a Northerner says 10,
Well, it
10,
may be.
10.
I don't
Make
want
a
you to
little
hit
more
your duck
noise.
call one more lick. Let me hear your duck call one more time
Okay.
because that was so thrilling to hear you learn how here.
Okay. Well,
That's
not
kind
making
of like a duck caught in a trap.
What can I'll work on it, Phil, for our next get together. So when you started designing these and when they came to you and said, we want to do a show about your family, did you have any idea it would become the top rated reality show on cable?
Oh, look, I said, let me get this right. A bunch of rednecks hunting ducks. I said, but you don't want to see any of them actually get shot. I said, do y'all really think this will work? And then they informed me, they said, well, Ozzy Osbourne made it. And I'm like, you know, there's hope for us all.
And then the boys were so glad to come back and say, Dad, were you right?
Yes, wow.
I didn't think it would work, but
But tell them the rest of what you said. You said it would only work if...
what I said was, they said, Dad, what do you think? And I said, this won't work. However, I said, if God is behind it, it'll go all the way to the top. So I did have a little disclaimer. I said, now, if he's behind this, I said, no telling where to go.
So
I think that's what it's all about.
I think that's what it's all about, too.
Yeah.
What is it, do you think, that draws people to your family and to the values that you share?
I think is what they tell me, because we go all over the country now, and they always say, y'all are so real.
Yeah.
We can relate to y'all. You seem so sincere, and you really are. And it's like somebody they can identify with. That's what they tell me.
And you have been very honest on air. You're certainly very honest in your book, Happy, Happy, Happy. You talk about, I mean, it hasn't always been sunshine and roses.
That's correct.
You guys have been married 50 years?
Almost.
Almost 50 years?
Yeah, and we had it was actually about 10 years that were really, really, really tough.
Very
times.
tough. How did that turn around for you?
My life was spiraling out of control in a hurry. You have to remember, we're talking the 60s here. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, just let her rip. So I finally came to my senses. Miss Kay was after me. She said, look, just sit down and listen.
Well,
just listen.
He started a little early. What he did was, he didn't tell you this part because it is embarrassing. He put us out of the house, me and the 3 boys I had at the time, because he said we were too, again, I think he used the word, we were too goody-goody and holy roller and a few other things.
Because the Lord had started to work in your life at that point.
Oh, I had found the Lord by that time. It was about a year ahead of him.
She was converted first.
Kay, when that happened, when Phil said, you guys need to get out, you're too goody-goody, did you see God's hand at work at that point, or did you feel
here's the
desperate?
deal.
What were you feeling?
What kept me there, I think, for so long was the fact that I was raised more by my grandmother than my parents. And her words were always to me about, well, of course, she always talked about one man, one wife, or one life. And then she said, and you'll have to fight for your marriage. Well, I just thought, that's ridiculous, because number one, when I get married, it's going to be, we're going to live happily ever after.
We all think that, don't we?
Like the book says, all the books you read, they say that. And so it was like I finally found out what she was talking about. But she said, your marriage, no matter what you think or what people tell you, it's worth fighting for. And so, yeah, so I wanted to look in the sky and tell my grandmother at that point, okay, he kicked me out, I didn't leave.
Can I be done now?
Yeah. And with the separation time, it was really hard, but because I was a Christian then, and where I went is where we worship now, and I had so many people praying for his salvation.
You didn't really have a chance there, my friend.
So when he came that day to my work, and he hates for me to tell this, but it was the truth. He just came there, and I thought, well, he's come up here and he's drunk and passed out on the steering wheel because his head, but it wasn't. When he raised his head up and I opened the door, I didn't know if he was going to shoot me or, what would happen. But he looked up and he had big tears in his eyes, and he said, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I want my family back.
Yeah.
And, then I thought, oh, he's just like I want him. Yeah. But I knew, he said, I'm never going to drink again. And I said, you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And I found myself being stronger because God was telling me, you got to stand up here.
As I read your book, Phil, I was thinking the person that you were before you knew Christ and the person that Miss Kay is describing is so different than you are today. I don't even know you well, but just watching you on your program, reading your book, you're a gentle man.
It's literally what Jesus said, from darkness to light.
Yes.
By the way, now, Miss Kay, I said to Miss Kay now, when you're not going to run out on me one of these days, are you? And she said, Phil, she said, listen to my voice. She said, I stayed with you when you were mean and we were poor. She said, now you're kind and we're rich. Number one, rich is better, and I'm not going anywhere.
He loves to tell that. He loves to tell that story.
She said, well, I used to have to pay all the bills, But,
yeah, I was the one that had to worry about all that stuff,
But let me ask you this, because you have been in a place of need. God has blessed you mightily as you've given him glory over the years. But a lot of people who come to success really get off the beaten path. I mean, their lives change. They become managed and ruled by other people who don't share their values. How do you stay real in the middle of that?
Look, when you get right down to it, we're talking about the rarest of commodities when you come to Jesus. Peace of mind, all your sins removed, none of your future ones counted against you if you just trust God and try. And at the end, the resurrection of the dead. When you really look at it, you say, let's see, can fame or money top the resurrection of the bodies from the earth? I'm like, I don't think so. So it's the old, look at what's out there, our living hope, Jesus. And you say, you know what? Listen, I ran without Jesus for the first 28 years, and I've run with Jesus for the last 38. Trust me, the last 38 have been far better. Our first year down on the river, when I went down there, I had a clear head. When I was converted, I said, okay, here we go. So I said, let's see, I could teach school. Most people don't know this, but I earned a master's degree from Louisiana Tech in education. So I could have taught school, but I said, Miss Kay, find a place on the river.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to fish nets in the river, and I can beat teaching school for as money just fishing on the river. And I said, and while I'm doing that, I said, you see this duck call? I said, there's not but one of them on this earth. I said, I'm going to patent this thing, and we'll go in the duck call business. Well, the first year in the duck call business, our gross sales was $8,000.
And tell my words.
I said, Miss Kay, we are rolling.
And I said, we're going to starve to death.
But she held the line and stayed the course, and it started out the next year was 13.5, and then it was like 22, the sales, and it was like 37. And look, today, millions.
No worries.
Millions. So
Yeah. Doing something you love.
it was either a tremendous stroke of luck, or the Almighty said, I'll fill your barns up,
Yeah.
tamp down and running over. So
But here's what I think that tries to keep us on track is the fact that I've said all along, we never forget where we came from.
Amen.
And if something happened tomorrow with devastation, we went back to, the shaggy trailer that we lived in one time,
We would
it
be
wouldn't
fine.
matter. We would just
No
be
problem.
fine. But I worry more for the grandchildren.
Yeah. Well, it's a
Because we
different
have
world.
teens now that are even asked to go out and speak like we do, that are on the road. And that's just,
plus they're now rich kids.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you
You got to get them out in the boat, Phil.
I'm telling you. I'm
they'll
looking
be
at
in
them, I'm
the boat.
thinking, oh no, they're acting like yuppies. Hey,
Well, we all love it. We love especially the time that your family gathers together at the end of each show and bows and prays. It's really a precious reminder of how families are raised in our country. It's given us a new insight into who God is in your life and the journey He's had you on. It's been a fascinating journey. You've only seen a little bit of it if you've watched the show. The book is called Happy, 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 My Life and Legacy as the Duck Commander. It's available wherever books are sold, and also we want to remind you to watch Duck Dynasty. That's on A&E. Just check your local listings for dates and times. Want to say also that your son, Alan, you said, is going to be joining you in the new season?
he's the one without whiskers.
Really? A Duck Dynasty guy without whiskers?
He got caught up in the old trap that the reason God gave males whiskers and he didn't give females. See, look, here's Miss Kay. There's your face, no whiskers. But he gave us whiskers, and what do? We turn around and scrape them off every day. I'm like, why would you do that?
What do you say about who's the only people that have?
Well, there are two kinds of people on planet Earth who do not have beards. That would be women and youth. I am neither.
Okay, your life
See
is
what I
very
live with?
entertaining with this
Hey,
guy.
the United States of America needs a big dose of manhood. Trust me.
Which might be one of the big draws of Duck
Little
Dynasty.
geeky guys. I'm like,
Okay.
grow you some whiskers, son. Get out a little bit.
I think we're going to see a whole new revolution. We'll be back
It's never a dull moment in my
am
house.
sure that's true. Or you with him. That's why you make such a great couple.
Miss Sarah.
We're going to be back with more of the 700 Club right after this. Happy, happy, happy. Go get it.